Hello and welcome to Temple Update. I'm Victoria Lim.
And I'm Chris O'Connell.
It's taken a 29-day strike, a court order, and 10 months of negotiations. But the bitter contract dispute between Temple University administration and the professors has been resolved. University faculty have a new contract. By an overwhelming margin of 338 to 65, the Temple Association of University Professionals have approved a contract offer by the administration. The agreement calls for a 34% salary increase over 4 years. Faculty must chip in $260 a year to help pay for their health benefits. TAUP President Art Hochner says the next step is to build a better relationship between the faculty and school officials, but he doesn't know if that can be done with the present administration.
It's largely an attitude problem. I don't know whether that requires a change in personnel. At this time, I'm just happy that we have a settlement.
President Leocoris says he hopes this pact helps the university to move past the confrontations and avoid future labor disputes.
But there will always be differences of opinion. There will always be criticism. Temple would be very dull if there were not differences of viewpoints. But I hope that we reach the point. If we work hard together, we should reach the point where we don't need strikes. We can work in a way that we can resolve these differences before such action has to be taken.
The union also comes away with a few things that weren't on the original bargaining table. According to Hochner, the most important perk is salary compression, which rewards those employees who have worked at Temple for a substantial period of time. Other changes include increased salaries and benefits for librarians and academic professionals, as well as study leaves and summer teaching pay.
With the faculty contract just being settled, Temple administration is now faced with another major dilemma. Governor Robert Casey announced over $6.3 million in state aid being cut from the university. Temple gets approximately 1/3 of its entire budget from the state. The cuts are far less than anticipated. However, Temple President Peter Leocoris says with rising inflation rates, still even more internal cuts still have to be made. Specific cuts have yet to be announced, but Temple Hospital and the athletic programs are possible areas where money could be cut. Faculty Union President Art Hochner says students are already feeling the brunt of the budget cuts, along with the lingering effects of the fall faculty strike.
The problem that we face is that all sorts of other things are being cut back, and our lives are being squeezed in many ways. They're increasing class sizes without consultation by the faculty. They're trying to change course offerings, again without consultation, without consulting us. We're afraid that they're going to use the budget cuts to degrade the educational and academic ability of Temple University.
Another major financial issue being looked at within the university is enrollment. Last fall, Temple saw over 2,000 students withdraw from the university and regained only 46% this spring. The outcome means less money for the university, which in turn means more programs to be cut from the university budget.
Attention SEPTA riders, if you purchase monthly passes for Zone 3 or higher, you can now travel anywhere in Pennsylvania without paying extra money. This offer is only in effect during off-peak hours.
In one of the first programs of its kind, the University of Pennsylvania is establishing a $1 million fund to help pay for the college education of West Philadelphia High School graduates. It's called the Philadelphia Scholars Fund. Core States Financial Corporation contributed $750,000 to make it possible. West Philadelphia students attending 2- to 4-year colleges will be eligible.
Demolition of Stauffer Hall has been completed. Chris Engel reports on what the administration has planned for the site.
Stauffer Hall on Temple University's main campus was almost completely empty for 8 years. Located at the corner of Broad and Cecil B. Moore, it housed only the offices of campus information. The building was demolished this fall after a routine inspection by engineering consultants deemed the building unsafe. The building was razed by December, and Temple began plans to use the space as an extension of parking lot number 3. Kent Rayburn, head of campus development, says that the city has plans for the land also.
Cecil B. Moore Avenue to the east of that location is a wider street, and it is the intention of the city to widen that street all the way to Broad Street. Well, the only thing that was in its way was the Stauffer building. Yeah.
The city doesn't have the money for that project anytime soon, but Rayburn says the Temple can wait. Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Christine Engel.
The recent outbreak of measles that took the lives of 2 Philadelphia children is closely being watched by health officials. Since January, there have been 107 confirmed cases in the Philadelphia area. Doctors say they are dealing with a different, more potent type of virus. In the past, the death rate was 1 for every 1,000 cases reported. The number has recently jumped to 1 in 300.
A new study reveals alcoholics that seek help may want to get counseling with a family member. Penn State professor Thomas Bowers says the problem has to be integrated into family home, and stabilizing family life is the first step. Counseling sessions with family members sometimes is far more effective than counseling alone. Bauer adds in most cases family life is a perfect support method in combating alcoholism.
As the Persian Gulf War continues, public support remains high, but there are those that oppose the war, and they recently staged a peace rally in Washington, D.C. Updates Adam Serkin reports.
When one thinks back to protesters of the 60s, the predominant image is one of long-haired college students marching in the streets, carrying signs and shouting slogans. A recent study of American college students, conducted by UCLA graduate professor, suggests that may also be the image of protesters in the 90s. The study reveals that college students are becoming increasingly concerned with a variety of social and political issues, including the environment, racial discrimination, and most recently, the Persian Gulf War. Evidence of this can be seen on campuses all over the country, as well as here at Temple. But the college campus is not where this renewed interest in activism begins and ends. At a recent teach-in sponsored by the Temple Coalition for Peace, students were urged to take their protests off campus and out into the streets.
I'm telling you this to inspire you to organize and protest like you've never done before.
About 80 Temple students joined members of AFSCME to participate in a protest rally and march in the streets of our nation's capital. Once in Washington, it was plain to see that activism had reached an even higher level of participation. The makeup of the crowd was surprisingly diverse. Many of these scenes look very familiar. This could easily be footage from 20 years ago. Other scenes give us a new perspective. They show that those against the war in the Persian Gulf come from all walks of life. The protesters are not only students, as was traditionally the case in the 60s and 70s. Faces in the crowd represent many different ethnic backgrounds and religious groups. Protesters are union members and war veterans. They are our grandmothers, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, and our children. But more important than who these people are is the message that they are here to deliver. The majority of protesters believe that war is not an acceptable option for solving our geopolitical problems. Killing is not the answer, and they are here in Washington, D.C. to deliver that message to the politicians and to the world.
Anytime you have a lot of people together, it really just reiterates the point. One person can write a letter, one person can make a phone call, but if you have 250,000 people all together in one place, it just brings the point that much closer to home.
The point they're making is simple enough for even a child to understand. Reporting for Temple Update, this is Adam Serkin.
Saddam is souring high school tours abroad. In the wake of the crisis, thousands of student exchange trips are being canceled to Europe because of the increased threat of terrorism. The American Council for International Students, which arranges the exchange programs, say they expect up to 50% of cancellations.
If you're looking for a good way to send the troops in the Gulf a cheery message, Hallmark has the perfect outlet for you. The Just How I Feel greeting card line was designed with our troops in mind, giving the soldiers messages supporting their effort. The cards are now available at your local card stores.
As the war in the Gulf rages on, one Temple Hospital employee finds himself in a more disturbing situation than most people. Updates Brad Sussin reports.
The Persian Gulf War has riveted the eyes, minds, and hearts of the American people on Operation Desert Storm, especially those who have family members participating in the conflict. Mr. Muhammad Latif, who has lived in the Delaware Valley for over 30 years, was born in Iraq and is in the unique position of having his family fighting on both sides of the line in the sand. As a result, his concern and feelings are divided.
The two cities heavily bombarded, Baghdad and Basra. I have a family in both cities. My brother who lives in Basra, where he has a large family of his own, and four of his sons are in the Iraqi army. Then my sister in Baghdad, she has 3 of her sons. She has other members of the family too. 3 of our sons are also in the army, Iraqi army. They're young people. They're drafted.
Latif also has relatives fighting alongside the coalition forces. As an anti-war activist throughout his life, this war in particular evokes his deepest sentiments. Latif worries that the United States has committed its forces without understanding the Arab culture and psyche.
One thing the Western world has not learned or simply doesn't want to learn is the commitment, resolution of these people to maintain their own identity, not only based on cultural or national, it's a historical one.
This war, Latif theorizes, will bring destabilization and regional disorder in the Middle East for years to come, not a new world order as President Bush envisions.
So whatever the end result is, it's bad for America. Whether we win it, we lose it, we lost it the day one we attacked it in the eyes of the Arab world.
Having relatives and family members on both sides of the line of sand presents an unusual and particularly uncomfortable situation for Mr. Mohammed Latif. For Temple Update, this is Brad Sussin.
All fats are not created equal. According to Thomas Jefferson University Hospital, men gain weight around the waist while women add pounds to the hips. While obesity in the male is associated with coronary heart disease, fat in the waist is the first thing to shed when dieting. The female pattern of obesity is not associated with cardiovascular problems, but fat stored around the hips is the most difficult to lose.
Now let's go to the sports desk with April Ennis. April, men's hoops coming off a 2-game losing streak, getting back on track.
They are. It was your typical Big Five matchup when the Owls traveled to Hawk Hill to meet St. Joe's. Updates, Jeff Burback reports.
It was classic Big Five basketball with sole possession of the city championship at stake for the Owls. Host St. Joe's had upset on their minds against heavily favored Temple, a team which had just defeated them by 17 points 2 weeks before. John Chaney's team trailed by as many as 13 in the second half, but with a 3-point bombing of senior Mark Macon, the Owls slowly climbed back into the contest. Temple cut the lead to 3, but the Hawks made their key free throws down the stretch and beat the Owls for the first time in 11 tries, 66-60. Hawks coach John Griffin said his players didn't fold in the final minutes.
Thought that unlike previous times where we've been this close, we haven't come up with the play, we haven't made the foul shots, and guys who made foul shots at the end had been in positions in the past to make a difference in the game. Like
Coach Chaney says the offense must get more support from the entire starting squad.
You know, we're looking at a situation where we're just trying to hit on 2 cylinders, and everybody we play knows that we're going to mark and down. We're not getting much of an effort out of anybody else.
Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Jeff Burback.
With the loss to St. Joseph's, Temple has clinched a tie with either LaSalle or St. Joe's for the City Series title. However, not all was lost on this day for Temple. Former Owl Granger Hall was inducted into the Big Five Hall of Fame at halftime. Hall played for the Temple from 1980 to 85 and was a 3-time All-Big Five selection. After losing to St. Joe's, Temple has put together a 3-game winning streak in the Atlantic 10. The Owls have beaten the Colonials of George Washington, the Mountaineers of West Virginia, and the Nittany Lions of Penn State. With those 3 wins, Temple remains in a first-place tie with Rutgers at 11-3. And in Lady Owls basketball, the number 2 ranked Nittany Lions took over the McGonigal Hardwood, posting an 86-60 win, marking the first win for Penn State in 5 years at Temple. The Lions sealed the win from the start as Temple just could not cash in. Tanya Cole led the Owls in scoring with 17 points, while Lori Morris chipped in 16. The Owls are now 10-11 overall and 7-5 in Atlantic 10 play. A former Temple basketball star had a chance to come back to Philadelphia with his new team. Updates, Jeff Burback had an opportunity to speak with Tim Perry.
Most Temple basketball fans will remember Tim Perry for his tenacious defense and strong rebounding. Tim has since carried those skills to the NBA court, now playing in his 3rd year for the Phoenix Suns. The Suns were in town recently, taking on the Sixers at the Spectrum. Tim Perry played a key role for the Owls' very successful 1987-88 basketball season. The team had an overall record of 32-2, which is the best in Temple's long history. The 6'9", 200-pound senior started all 34 games for the Owls that season and averaged over 14 points per game. Perry concluded a spectacular collegiate career by earning All-American honors in 1988 and was a number 7 overall pick in the NBA draft. Perry was a lottery pick of the Phoenix Suns, and much was expected of him.
Yeah, being a lottery pick, I did feel a lot of pressure. Felt pressure from the fans, really, but I kind of kept it in proper perspective. So I really didn't think about that too much. I just went out there and tried to play.
The Suns are currently one of the top organizations in the NBA, which means tough competition for playing time.
I wish I was playing more, but I'm pretty happy because it's a winning team. It's a winning organization. So right now, I'm pretty kind of content right now.
Perry and Dwayne Coswell are currently the only former Owls to be playing in the NBA. But Perry believes they will be joined next year by former teammate Mark Macon, and thinks Macon will make a smooth and successful transition to the NBA.
He's like, ever since he was a freshman in college, he was pretty composed, even on and off the court.
Although Perry has fond memories of a brilliant collegiate career at Temple, he has set his sights on new goals.
Still want to make the All-Star team. I still want to win an NBA championship. And just to be happy, though.
For Temple Update, I'm Jeff Burback.
In track and field, freshman Jeff Daniels holds the Owls' all-time indoor record in the triple jump. Daniels jumped 50 feet 5.5 inches at the Terrier Classic in Boston. And the men's gymnastic teams finished its second meet, winning over Navy for a 2-0 record in the Eastern Intercollegiate Gymnastics League. For more on that story, Update's Christine Engel reports.
The Temple Owls gymnastic team is entering a promising new season. After winning the opener in early February, the men were ready for a quad meet with Penn State, Navy, and James Madison. Penn State, Temple's toughest competitor in the East, won the meet with a final score of 277 points. Temple trailed closely behind by only 5, and Navy placed third.
They did really well in their last two events to bring it closer to them, but it wasn't really enough. And it was a close meet, but Penn State pretty much had it.
Contributing to Temple's success was NCAA All-American junior Bill Roth. Roth claimed the all-around high score of 57.55. His average score for each of the 6 events was a 9.59. Roth won 5 of those events. Roth says that the team hopes to meet up with Penn State again in the regionals.
When we find out who qualifies for NCAAs, and by that time, we should have all our flaws out and we should be doing very well.
Next up, the Owls host Pittsburgh and York at McGonigal Hall on February 23rd. Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Christine Engel.
In women's gymnastics, the Lady Owls met the Lady Panthers of Pittsburgh in a close match at McGonigal Hall. Despite an early lead by Temple, Pitt prevailed by less than 1 point. Junior Sandra Mitchell won the all-around with a score of 37 points. The team will compete against the University of Pennsylvania at McGonigal Hall on March 3rd. And the Metropolitan New York Football Writers Association has named Temple football coach Jerry Byrne the Division 1A Eastern Football Coach of the Year. The coach guided the Owls to the most improved record in college football, and Byrne will receive the Joseph M. Sheehan Award at Giant Stadium later this month. And the season update will cover not only collegiate lacrosse, but the professional team in town. In agreement with the Philadelphia Wings, update will be covering the 1991 Major Indoor Lacrosse League. In their latest game at the Spectrum, the Wings came close but lost to the Detroit Turbos, 14-12. By former Syracuse All-Americans Paul and Gary Gate played for Syracuse. Only 6 games into their rookie season, the brothers broke 2 scoring records. Paul for scoring and Gary for assists. The Wings' next home game is Thursday, February 28th at 8 p.m. And that is about wraps it up from the sports desk. And back to Vicki and Chris with some more news.
Thanks, April. A report by Men's Health magazine lists the #1 way to relieve stress, making love. The list of best and worst health ideas says sex produces a profound sense of relaxation, therefore cutting stress levels dramatically. According to the report, the worst stress reliever is alcohol, which cuts down on ability to sleep, making the next day even more stressful.
Pessimist attitude can lead to illness, lower achievement, and depression, according to University of Pennsylvania psychologist Martin Segelman. Segelman calls this fulfillment of self-defeating prophecies learned helplessness. Pessimists quit more easily, while optimists excel at work, school, and are more likely to win an election. If you are a pessimist, look on the bright side. Optimism can be learned.
Now it's time to take a look at the brighter side of the news. Here's Sean Murphy with entertainment.
You know, some people like to relax by listening to easy listening radio stations like KISS or Magic, but not me. When I truly need to unwind, I listen to the E-Team Butchers the Classics. Just listen.
I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no name. La la.
Oh, if it only stopped there. But it doesn't. Listen as the E-Team does what it may or may not do best. Over 430 of your all-time favorites for the low introductory price of $1.38. That's 25 cents off the regular retail price.
Hey, lady, got the love I need.
Catch the group from its early days as a humble street duo known as Two Sean Crew, right up to the four-piece rock monolith we've all grown to know and love. Hear them perform classics like this.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the...
Hello, signpost, what you knowin'? I came to watch your flowers growing. Ain't you got no time for me? Looking for fun and feeling groovy.
And who could forget this?
Stay alive, stay alive, ah, 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 stay alive. Hoo-hoo!
God, I love that. And you can too. This time, they're not kidding. Here's how to order.
To order, send check or money order to the E-Team Butchers the Classics, P.O. Box 12345, Hickory Dickory, Illinois 52113. That's 430 of your all-time favorites at a 4-record, 2-cassette, or 2-CD set for the low, 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 did he say low? Yes, he did, price of $1.38. Send those checks and money orders today.
Love on the rocks. Ain't no big surprise.
We forgot to mention that the first 1,000 orders get a free We're Not Putzes, We're the E-Team Terry Cloth tank top. Now that we've got you really excited, here's an explosive story. In New Delhi, India, the world's first conference on orgasm has taken place. More than 500 sexologists from around the world have gathered to discuss such loin-tingling topics as male multiple orgasm. Oh, if only. I'm sure the agenda was quite stimulating. The 1991 Harlequin Romance Report is finally out. 1,000 men surveyed said that women should have 9 lovers before marriage. Being men, they added that they themselves should have 16. Women in last year's survey recommended 4 lovers for themselves and 4.5 for men. And if you've never had half a lover, you simply don't know what you're missing. Speaking of the tabloids, you wonder where they get all of that classified information. Well, the National Enquirer has once again defied the odds to bring you this one. They've rounded up Saddam's bodyguard. Now, I won't make you sit through the whole article, but I feel it my duty to read the headline. Rest assured, you haven't heard this on CNN. Saddam executes his young lovers, his evil sex life, and my favorite, his passion for Little House on the Prairie. You know, it's not always easy being provocative and entertaining. In fact, one may say that it's very much hit and miss. In reality, for every hit, there are at least a dozen or so misses. In this week's Man on the Street with Adam L., we showcase some of those misses.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question? Who do you think will win in a foot race, B. Arthur or Bill Cosby?
Arthur, definitely.
And why is that?
I don't know, man. She just seems like she's mean, aggressive, fast.
B. Arthur.
Why is that?
I don't know, because she's a woman and I'm a women's lover, so.
If Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi played Scrabble, who would win?
Saddam.
Can I ask you a question? No. Please, no? The first time you heard the word scud, did you want to, like, wipe your nose or something?
Do I want to wipe my nose?
Yeah, because, you know, it sounds like you got something on your nose when somebody says scud. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. What's so hard about that question? Who would win? It's easy. Who do you think will win in a foot race, Bill Cosby or B. Arthur?
I wouldn't know what question you're asking, actually. I'm totally ignorant of.
You don't know who B. Arthur is? No. You ever see the Golden Girls? No. Are those bugle boys you're wearing?
Are these bugle boys? No, not as a matter of fact. They are Levi's, black jeans. I've had them since probably the 9th grade. And they still fit. So, you know, bugle boy, they never did me any justice. Too many zippers, too many buttons. You know, and that's all, you know, a bunch of malarkey with, you know, the stuff. Is that bugle boy? Because, you know, chicks don't really dig that stuff.
Okay, homie. Well, it's got to be the shoes then. See, you're ordering Chinese food there.
Yeah, I ordered.
Do you think you'll be hungry an hour later?
Probably.
Oh, I like that answer. He had something to say. It's about time, isn't it? I see you're eating here. Were you just at that Chinese truck about an hour ago?
No.
No? Okay, we have this little... We have this little thing. We think of you Chinese food. An hour later, you're hungry. So I thought maybe that was you, too. You did not. No? You didn't have Chinese food? No?
Nah, does Chinese food do that?
It does. You didn't know that? Sometimes you just got to know when you're beaten. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Adam. And finally, with a hit single on the top of the music charts, 1990 was a good year for Sarah Hickman. But if recent events are any indication, this may not be her year. It seems the country singer was stopped by the police for having expired plates. When the officer found that she also had unpaid parking tickets, Ms. Hickman was handcuffed and put in the back seat of the patrol car. The policeman quickly recognized the singer, took off the handcuffs, and asked for her autograph. After signing the autograph, Sarah Jailbird Hickman, she was promptly recuffed and booked. Boy, that's mean. Now back to the news.
Thanks, Sean. Recently, two sleight of hand masters brought their unique blend of hip comedy and magic to Philadelphia. Meredith McGinn reports.
The Bad Boys of Magic recently brought their new tour to Philadelphia.
Look, a refrigerator.
Pendulat and partner Teller blew into the city with their entertaining and somewhat controversial refrigerator tour for 2 weeks at the Schubert Theater. In a recent interview, Penn said they always look forward to performing in Philly.
Started in Philadelphia. Yeah. You know, where Teller's from. I'm sure you've met the hometown genius superstar Teller, my partner. Penn and homegrown superstar Teller.
Called La Creme de la Cour, these two have a unique blend of outrageous comedy and magic like no one else.
Started just with a lot of dislike for what was going on in magic and thinking that magic could have an emotional and intellectual base. It didn't have to be just as Jerry Seinfeld says, here's a quarter, now it's gone, you're a jerk. It could be more, have a little more content than that. And by seeing no one else doing it, we decided to enter a field where we felt we had no competition, at least the kind of stuff we do.
If you attend a Penn and Teller performance, you'll see traditional magic tricks, and then you'll see how it's done. While this amuses the audience, it makes magicians furious.
Of course, having magicians mad at you is a lot like having, ventriloquists upset at you. I'm going to kick your ass! You're pretty safe. I'll tell you right now that if the Hells Angels were unhappy with anything we were doing, we would do a rewrite instantly.
Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Meredith McGinn.
If you're anticipating war video games like Gulf War or Saddam Slayer, put down your joystick. Home video giants like Nintendo, Sega, Atari, and NEC say they have no plans to cash in on the Persian Gulf crisis. Company officials say capitalizing on the war effort would be in bad taste. Plus, it takes 9 to 12 months to develop a game. By that time, the conflict will hopefully be resolved.
But the king of sports cars is joining the growing line of war-related products. Topps Company is selling Operation Desert Storm cards. For 50 cents, you get 8 cards and a sticker. Sorry, no gum. There are 88 different cards featuring a Desert Storm key player like President Bush or Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Colin Powell, or a weapon like Stealth Fighter or Patriot Missile. And that about wraps up this edition of Temple Update. I'm Victoria Lim.
And for Sean Murphy, April Ennis, and the entire Temple Update crew, I'm Chris O'Connell. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.